You want to do it? So before every practice, it is extremely recommended that we take refuge and set our intention to realize or experience true bodhicitta, which is not an emotion, it just is. Isness, it's called sometimes. And it is said that refuge is the first practice for many. It's also the last practice. I say a refuge in Bodhicitta intention, Manlam, which is, I guess I should say Manlam, which is a Tibetan word, I believe, for intention path is partially what I was told years ago the Dalai Lama says every morning, uh, and partially what has meaning for me. So you are very welcome to join me in what I say, or to say whatever it is that has meaning for you. The important thing is, traditionally, to set that intention. And at the end of any practice, it's called dedicating the merit. Basically, for me, it's not holding on to anything and letting it expand out into the universe naturally. Okay, blah, blah. Away we go. I don't know about you all, I am, because of past history, this is not a particularly comfortable position for my hands. So I just do something. I said, well, what can I do? What is the meaning of this for me? And I like to picture, and I use my hands like this, I like to picture all beings who need refuge or seek refuge to be right in there. That feels fine to me. So it goes like this. With a wish for all beings to be free, in human realm particularly, free from the constriction and contraction of held belief systems and thought patterns, free from the automatic reactions of learned and held emotional patterns, and free from the isolation and suffering of distorted perceptions. I will always rest in refuge as alive, vibrant, radiant, spacious awareness until awareness is ongoing, like the flow of a river. Enthused by wisdom and compassion, today in the presence of all awakened ones, of any lineage or none, and or any time or beyond time, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all beings. As long as space remains, as long as beings remain, may I manifest in such a way to ease and dispel the miseries in the universe. Okay. because we have some people here who haven't been here before. Just a couple of reminders about refuge. You are one of the beings that are not only seeking to rest in refuge, but actually are the ultimate refuge. We just get confused about that with all those thoughts, feelings, and sensations. And the bit at the end about may I manifest. In the original prayer, it's dispel the miseries in the world. But it can be very personal to you. What is it you want? And another reminder that since any realized being at least on the bodhisattva path, a realized bodhisattva, has made a vow to return again and again, not return, but for lack of a better word, to be present again and again where needed. So when we say beyond time, a lot of times we think of these great masters and bodhisattvas, Chenrezig, as somehow being placed in time long, long ago. But that wouldn't be very useful or helpful if they weren't also present in this very moment. And in this very moment. And in this very moment. So traditional today, perhaps. Why not? The Tibetan culture, I have been told, by Lama Lena particularly, is a very visual culture. So a lot of the symbols are visual symbols. But if you learn in a different way, for instance, if audio makes more sense, for heaven's sakes, invite sound in. The mantra is the sound of open-hearted, open-minded, infinite awareness, infinite compassion, infinite bodhisattva, no limitation. So the mantra is the sound of that. The light rays that we'll talk about are the visualization of that. And the vibration as you say the mantra. If you just say it up in your throat, there's not very much vibration. But if you allow it to resonate from your root chakra all the way up through your crown chakra, it carries a great deal of vibration. And if you are there's a word for that. It's not sensory. I'm not that great with these words. Proprioceptive, something like that. You can allow the waves of that, the vibration of sound, the vibration of touch. We are not as solid as we often perceive ourselves to be. Every form is made of the same no thing. Scientists keep looking, don't they? Molecules, cool. Oops, they're made up of atoms. Okay. Oops, atoms are made up of protons, electrons, and nuclei, something like that, neutrons. Oops. Oh, those are made up of gluons and oops. Once you look, there's no thing independently existent. And all form is manifested from that no thing. Is it slight movement? Is there any reason if you completely opened without the restriction we put on our bodies as being these solid things? Is there any reason you could not feel the universe interacting with you, the you that thinks it's separate? That is a very fun retreat focus would maybe not be the word, to simply open to that. You can sense everything around you. You can start with your own body. What are you sitting on that's allowing you to relax your muscles? There are infinite stories of realized beings, at least realized in a moment, who have fallen through walls or probably fallen through chairs. Lama Lena tells a great story of a yogi in the caves up in Sopema who was just sitting one day and he went to put something down and his hand went through the board that he was using as his table. But he was so excited about it, he went, "Oh my God, I got it," that his hand got stuck there. And they had to go get some bunch of people to chop the table out from around his hand. So if you ever notice that you have had, there's another wonderful story about a actually very well known Tai Chi or Qigong teacher, think Tai Chi. He was a student of of Wangdo Rinpoche's, Lama Lena's teacher. And he came to him one day and he said, "You know, I've been following you for a really long time and I appreciate everything that you say and blah, blah, blah." He said, "But I'm having a little bit of trouble with my faith." And I can only imagine Wangdo Rinpoche's stoically holding his face very still throughout this story, maybe a little smile on his face, friendly. And this person said, "Can you please just show me one of these miracles?" Uh, and as Lama Lena tells the story, Wangdo Rinpoche didn't say anything, put his cup on the table. No, he didn't do it that way. I apologize. He went to put his cup down, and he put it down about 3 inches above the table. And he just sat there. Well, then he picked it up again after his hand went through the table and it came back up and picked the cup up. And the guy that had asked the question is just looking at him as hard as he can. And finally he goes, "Oh, it's okay. I understand. You can't do it." Our perception is very interesting. Wangdo Rinpoche just smiled. He was not one much to point out things like, "I just showed you 3 times, but okay." Lots of stories. People are fascinated by those stories and they want to see something to prove to them that what's being taught is real. Right there, you're in trouble. Did that happen? Or did Lama Lena perceive that? What's real? Oh, what's real is our awareness, mostly focused on our thoughts, feelings, sensations, and the perceptions that those create that shape our reality. That's a big sentence. Why don't we just practice Chenrezig? And there are many Dzogchen students that ignore and belittle Tantra. Don't be one of those. That's so silly. If you're not drawn to it, that's fine. Tantra is all symbols, as far as my experience goes, to reach underneath our really strongly held intellect and allow something to open that we might not even notice intellectually with our I see, may not even go into thought. If you could be awakened by intellectual understanding, if you could recognize who all beings really are, don't you think it would have happened by now? Don't you think every teacher would be able to teach you that? It's not an intellectual path. Intellect is always limited because it is developed from concepts. Concepts. I might be wrong on this. If you find an example, please write me. Concepts is based on duality. There's a this and a that. Awakened mind is beyond duality, so I've been told. So how could you recognize beyond reality by a method that is dual? So Tantra, Chenrezig, simply the symbol. Was Chenrezig in real form with the name Chenrezig? A student of the Buddhas? Who, while the Buddha was in meditative absorption, whatever that is, I believe it's translated that way. Chenrezig delivered the Heart Sutra. Pure heart, pure Dzogchen, pure bodhicitta, pure wisdom, never separate. So yeah, possibly he was a real being in form. When form is transcended, Chenrezig is right here, right now, pointing at what we don't see, showing us again and again and again. So as we start, traditionally it's done the way Lama Lena received it, by visualizing a 1,000-petaled lotus in your heart chakra. It doesn't have to stay there. Heart. And if you're determined to find a location for your heart chakra, it's often where you have an experience that we then label and attach to something. But when your heart breaks, before the stories are there, before the reason, when you simply experience that, or you experience a sensation of utter open-heartedness. Lots of examples were all different. Maybe for you, it's music that you simply get tears in your eyes or joy. There's no way to describe the experience if you are touched by music in your heart chakra, if you will. Maybe it's your baby or your puppy or your kitten. Maybe it's when you've taken a hike up a mountain and you're sitting at the top and the sun is setting. Different for everybody. All the thoughts, reactive feelings, even sense of time or separation drop away. So in this practice, we are asked to call up a memory of such an occasion and rest into that experience. We like the experience. We often, within 2 seconds, attach it. Oh, I'm going to do this hike every week. I love how this makes me feel. And then it doesn't happen. The minute we try to grab that feeling, we have separated ourselves. I want that. So they kind of have to sneak up on us when we're not looking, trying to grab. And they do that, those experiences, described in all kinds of ways, but there's no accurate description. As a warm wave, a lack of anxiety or worry about anything, everything's fine. Not perfect in the way we perceive perfect. Then we grab it. But for today, we'll try not to grab it. If it happens to arise naturally, wonderful. In those moments, there is awareness. Another word that's very hard to define. You're not just zoning out, but there is not a describer present. For a moment, no concept, no duality, no time. And you won't notice this until you grab yourself back. And you go, what the heck happened there? Ooh. Is that enlightened mind? Well, since there's no one looking, who would notice? You may have experiences that you will describe to yourself when you resume the normal state of our human form, which is I and everything out there. Many different experiences. If you can, just smile and let go of them. They're gone. But the taste lingers. We're looking for that taste, that taste. And as we do, it is like water nurturing a flower. that very sensation arises within the lotus, waters it until it opens naturally into its natural essence. We tend to close our heart because we don't want to get hurt. You may have noticed it doesn't work. Instinct. But for today, we'll just let that warmth fill our heart chakra, allowing the lotus made of light to open. And as it opens, we notice 6 petals at the heart of the lotus of different colors. And on each of those petals is one of the seed syllables, more symbols, and some descriptions, seed syllables of the 6 realms. But does it matter? They are seed syllables of the mantra, the sound of this completely open, unbounded, unconstricted experience. And if you have not had what's called the lung, traditional in Tibetan, or even if you have, please repeat after me the mantra. Then you may give the lung to anybody who asks you. The lung of the mantra, each of these syllables sitting on one of those 6 petals. Om.
Om.
Ma.
Ma.
Ni. Pe. Me. Hung. Om Mani Padme Hung. Om Mani Padme Hung. It is suggested that you continue to say that mantra. If you have a mala and you want to run your hands over a bead every time you say the mantra, feel free. It's said to hold the energy of the mantra. So when you're having a hard time, you can pick up your mala and feel again that unconditional openness. Not grasping. A gift from your mala, not separate from you. And quietly, always moving some air. Can be very, very quiet. A whisper moves air because we're involving our body, our speech, and our heart mind. Om Mani Padme Hum. And as you continue to say that, if you choose to, the inner petals, those 6 inner petals, start to turn clockwise, counterclockwise in Bon, clockwise in Tibetan, in the main schools of Tibet. As they turn, these colors, which represent all color, all life in the universe, start to blend together. Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. And as happens when all color of light, all colors of light, blend together, they become a white light. Not the white light of a spotlight or a glaring light, but the warm white light of all life, all color, all light. Radiant. You might even say sparkly. Never static for a moment. Light does not hold still. And as these colors blend, they start to extend into rays of this white light, which then fill all the petals of the thousand-petaled lotus until there are 1,000 rays of light radiating out into the universe. As these 1,000 rays naturally radiate, shine, they touch 1,000 beings. No limitation of size. Perhaps they touch cells in your body. Perhaps they touch giant beings that we can't even perceive at the edge of the universe. What these all have in common is the very essence of aliveness, that spark of aliveness. No limit in time. Want to reach back to a relative that has passed out of form, their form that you knew them? No limitation. Rays can touch any time, past, present, future, beyond time. No limitation to this universe. Wherever your imagination can reach, heart and mind can reach, these rays of light can reach. And as they touch 1,000 beings, those 1,000 beings experience the same thing we did, the heart chakra being able to relax and open, filling with the sound of the mantra, which is carried on these rays of light, as these rays of light. The vibration of that sound carried on the rays of light. And the 1,000 rays allow these 1,000 beings to open into their true essence. No thing other than radiant light, sound, vibration. So we have 1,000 rays of light touching 1,000 beings. Thousand rays of light touching 1,000 beings. Interconnected as everything truly is. And those rays of light, as they reach these thousand beings, those rays of light, some of them are coming back and filling your heart again. They're not rays of the personalities. They're rays beyond the personalities of your actual essence, pure light, pure sound, pure vibration of aliveness. There can be a resting in this, a refuge. May be experienced as an interconnected web, not limited in dimension, where the intersections are little nodes that think they're individuals. Not in this interconnectedness. The true nature of Nirmanakaya. We can rest here. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Hearing the mantra, being the mantra, the sound of the mantra, being the light, rays interconnected, being the vibration, perhaps subtle, of aliveness. For some, the visual becomes all beings being Chenrezig. For some, all sound becomes not exactly the sound of the mantra, but not exactly different than the sound of the mantra. For some, the interconnected vibration, where there's no beginning, no end. No need to protect anything. Or an experience as it arises in this moment. Refuge. On days when you choose to practice and you cannot find an ounce of unconditional love, openness. It's just a tight ball of blah. Practice as though you are receiving those rays into your heart from all the bodhisattvas, all the awakened ones, filling your heart until it overflows and there is no separation. This moment, we move on. And the shining of these lights interconnecting continues till there are 1,000 rays of light touching 1,000 beings. And on and on and on. Imagine all the beings, big, small, micro, macro, past, present, future, until there is no thing but light. Sound, vibration. refuge with the fancy name Sambhogakaya. Nothing to seek because there is no seeker. No thing to describe, there is no describer. No thing, simply light, sound, vibration. True essence of Bodhisattva. Nirmanakaya, different forms arising, making their own stories as though they're individuals. But true Nirmanakaya, interconnectedness of all manifestation. Bodhisattva, no thing but light. Pure light, pure sound, pure vibration. Many experiences may occur. With no one experiencing. Refuge. Impossible for any manifestation not to be made, arise from light, sound, vibration. You are that. Every alive being, every form is that. Not all identical in manifestation. Not all separate in manifestation. Again, traditionally at this point, we would bring all the light rays back that we sent out, or maybe that were sent out anywhere, all of them, the rays back into our heart chakra, back into the center of the lotus, compacting into yet another seed syllable, Hri, H-R-I, the symbol of Chenrezig, Bodhisattva. Light, sound, vibration, all comes back to the very center of the lotus where sits a very small tree. All of those rays compacting back into the center, back into that tree. All of that light compacted into that tree. And in a second, the tree dissolves. Indescribable, undefinable, spacious. For without space, how could anything manifest? Not empty in the way we see empty, not void. The very essence of this spaciousness permeated with the aliveness, potential, light, sound, vibration. In this, we rest simply in the spaciousness, the refuge of stillness, wisdom, but never ever separate. We separate the kayas so we can rest in different flavors, perhaps, of refuge, but they're never separate. How could they be? It's the very dance of the spark of life in the vast spaciousness that causes manifestations, you, to arise. No need to run away from this vast spaciousness. The words are not right. Where anything and everything can arise. No need to hide in that spaciousness, stillness. For without judgment, we recognize our moment of aliveness. Within that vastness, there's nothing to manipulate and no one to manipulate it. There is no thing to fix. And no one to fix it. And perhaps we have a moment's rest from human realm's need to try to make things be just a little bit more the way we want them. in the refuge of the kayas. Not knowledge, wisdom, and the isness of interconnectedness are never separate. And you are that. For where else would you have arisen from? The ultimate refuge, heart, mind. Never separate from the arising and dissolving of form. Leave you here with only the dedication. Well, the wish for us all to leave things as they are. No need to grasp, no need to push away. No need to intellectualize, try to figure something out. Refuge. May it touch all beings. I'll see you next time I see you. Thank you.